Hi again, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you're listening, this will probably be the last podcast from me for a little bit, unless something else comes up. It possibly will. But just adding on to the last few podcasts in this series, which we've spent looking at the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and the other ancient cultures and the art and monuments that they left behind, which clearly depict the anatomy of the human brain. The ancient Egyptians were most specific in their descriptions of each part, which became gods and are depicted across all their artwork as the royals. The pharaohs had physicians, and all of this testimony was put into the temples and the tombs and on their major monuments to signify what was essentially their roadmap for consciousness and belief in the afterlife, in their understanding of, basically what they could glean from studying the brain and the human anatomy. It will come as possibly a surprise to the archaeology community and those people who translate hieroglyphs, because once you ask a brain surgeon to look at those same hieroglyphs, or any type of physician that's aware of all the different parts of the brain and how they work together, you only need to apply that to the order in which these hieroglyphs have been carved, and you will see that they're highly accurate reflections of our current medical journals on this section of the human body. So sorry about that, but the upside is clarity, a real clarity of vision of something even beyond where the ancient Egyptians were positioned in that time, and across other religions as well, because these symbols and portrayals and depictions of these royal seats originating in the mind are across most, if not all, ancient cultures. Over in England and Ireland, we have more of a castle type of heritage, with mounds and stones and circles and egg-shaped domes and all of this sort of thing, and they too fit into probably what is a combination of the brain and the epithalamus and the thalamus, and moving into the womb and the egg-shaped nuclei, which, as we discovered, is basically represented there in the epithalamus, with the pineal gland in its gestational state, sort of floating in some glial cells, and the lining of that section of the brain back there as it's attached to the mother of the pharaoh, which is depicted as Ma'at, and Isis with her wings outstretched. I think it's basically the wings of the optic chiasma and the thalamus from the top view, and her consorts Horus and Ra, the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, as those two eyes are separated, of the thalamus and the fornix and the ram's horns and the amygdala and the pituitary gland, and everything sort of just starts coming into view with much greater clarity. Now, where this leads, I've touched on in the previous podcast. In the book Simulation, it's been said over and over that the mobile telecommunications companies and the broadcasting of information data at the speed of light as a wave it's entered the field of light and travelling at the same speed as light. And what happens and what we know of the basic anatomy of how vision works is that the eyes themselves do not decide what it is that they're seeing. They operate like a prism, and they can only take in information and convert that into a colour, based on the cones that are at the back of the retina there. And that information, no decision's been made yet on what it is that's being seen. It's just information that's being interpreted, processed, and translated as it goes. That information then travels up the optic nerve to the thalamus, which processes it and then sends it to the visual cortex, which is at the very back of the brain. And it is the back of the brain, in the visual cortex, that decides what it is that we're seeing based on the information as it's being processed, as it's come through the eye, and being processed as it comes through the thalamus. It hits the visual cortex, and it's in there that the image itself is produced. So what we're looking at is a section of the brain where we could safely say that all of those processes put together is the mind's eye, and that the eyes of Horus and Ra are symbolic of the mind's eye. Now, what sort of helped me clue into this with a bit more clarity, even though the anatomy of it is very simple and right there in our faces, is I was thinking about, well, the ancient Egyptians would have dreamed at night, and to notice that they were capable of sensorial experience beyond their physical confines with their eyes closed because they're sleeping, may have indicated to them that there was another eye, there were another set of eyes in the brain, or an experience beyond the physical life. And it's very interesting because it's almost like a separation between our physical eyes being opened and being able to take in information and experience a waking state. And what then happens, we fall asleep and we have a thalamus and a pineal gland and a hypothalamus that's sending signals to the pineal gland that darkness has arrived and it needs to produce melatonin. And within all of this is also the dream state. And obviously we can't say for sure what they dreamt about. I mean, I don't even know if they did dream. But if we're going to put this into human terms and say, well, if we have an experience when we're asleep and our eyes are closed, what sort of experience are we having when our eyes are open and our eyes are taking in information that find us without the same freedom of ability as we often experience in the dream state? It's the ability to be anywhere at once, change from one location to the next, meet people we've never met before, find ourselves in streets, places, houses, homes that we've never seen before, fly, be capable of sort of extra physical activities, such as, I don't know, what it's ice skating and turning on, all of this sort of stuff, flight mainly. And we sort of have been told that all of that is the workings of the subconscious and how the brain is firing and what the subconscious mind is bringing up and all this. And I have no doubt that plays a large part. But my main point is that this is experienced when the eyes are closed, and yet we can see. Some of us can even feel in our dreams. So if the eyes are closed and we still have a sense of physical feeling and a physical touch within the dream state, what is doing this, perceiving this, translating it, right? Because if it's all the subconscious and these signals are coming from within the different energy centers of the body and how we've been programmed, and what has generally been defined as the subconscious state, which is really just a shifting of the frequencies of the brain waves into a different state. The mind's eye is still formulating the experience for us to have the dream, for us to see in the dream, for us to feel in the dream, even right down to feeling emotions in the dream. So if we're able to see a reality that is different from our waking state when we're asleep, and then we open our eyes and suddenly we're back into a reality that is coming in through our retina and being processed internally and then decided by the visual cortex what those images will be. And when we look at what is going through our airwaves at the speed of light, the whole entire internet, the whole entire internet, everything on it, everything, including Google Earth, every single upload, every single video, every single picture, every single podcast, every single word, every single image, all of Google Images, all the different search engines, all of it is in the airwaves, entering our line of sight, coming through the retina at the speed of light. Now, some of you might say that you're sort of more informed on this. Yeah, but that's at 18 gigahertz, or, as a rough number, that's at 18 gigahertz or 18 megahertz. That's not the same as 18 hertz. We're hertz creatures. We're down here. We're in the physical, and they're octave. That's nowhere near us. No, well, it actually is. It's directly in line with us. If you want to look at frequency and vibration, or at a simple keyboard or a piano, where these things are called octaves, they are exactly the same at an octave scale, except they are relayed through the physical eye and what the physical eye can interpret of the information that's coming through, and at the frequency that the physical eye operates at. So we have a physical eye, say, operating between 18 and 20 hertz, thereabouts. It's picking up frequencies between 18 and 20 gig, 18 and 20 mega, and it's taking in that information within the realm that it can take it in, right? So if you were actually to look at little packets of data and look at little packets of light and look at little packets of vibration, and the fact that on the internet we're all being projected as physical human bodies, right? Also on the internet is the artificial light that's generated behind it, right? And also on the internet, we have cluster algorithms that are pulling together signal and transmissions of internet data from multiple different frequencies at once, because not everybody's on the same carrier. Not everybody's on the same frequency, but the mobile internet system puts everybody in the airwaves all at once, and all the algorithm does is select the data and line it up. It's called clustering the data. And when a supermerger occurs, which is basically happens when one extra link in the system merges the whole system into a catastrophic type of combustion. And that is shot through the retina into the thalamus, or even through the side of the head. I mean, we're talking the speed of light here, so we may not even be talking about it having to travel at all, really. I mean, if we want to look at where we are and how we interpret speed, it's everywhere at once, moving through us. And a particular supermerger comes through multiple different frequencies at once, It's filled with a heavy toxicity. There's a jarring, there's a negativity, there's noise, there's distortion, there's sound binary data, all of this stuff. It smacks us right in the thalamus, the nucleus of the thalamus. Okay? Just smacks us right, just shoots right through, up the optic nerve and smack bang right into the middle of the thalamus. And so what happens is the little nuclei that are in the thalamus gland there experience a fusion with internet signal. Now, this is another conversation, but you will have seen it quite present in some of the mass shooters. They often come out of their experience feeling a little bit dazed. They don't really quite know what happened. They don't really remember much of it, or they're sort of a bit stunned and confused. Because by the time it's all over, they've been unhooked, disconnected from that signal, or perhaps they're still in it and they really don't have a clue what's going on. Obviously, that's a huge issue. It's one of the many issues that is concerning in terms of the manipulation and the automation of humanity through the visual cortex, and further the instructions that are given through the internet, because there's not just visual information that's being sent, it's instructional. Every word we type, everything on Wikipedia, every news article is all instructional, and all of this information is shooting through to the thalamus for interpretation at the same time, with the thalamus is kind of like known as the hub of the central nervous system. So we're getting dumped. We're getting brain blasted and brain nuked with information that aligns with our phone number, our date of birth, and it all gets fed through these numbers in an alignment thanks to an algorithm. And the next minute, we are automated robots just because of one little device called an iPhone. Automated robots. It originally started, there was radio, of course, but it originally started this sort of superimposing over our visual fields through television, through the reprojection of the coarse physical form into the airwaves to convince us that this is the only type of reality that we're entitled to experience, because there's a bunch of people out there who want to make money selling war technology to the public, which is what all of this is, to feed their defense department. And then all these private companies and corporations sprang up, like IBM, doing computers to make things easier for people who want to make money. And they all get their heads together, and then they want to call it globalism, because the internet globalizes things, and they would figure that they can automate the economy this way and turn human beings into little robots with a little device telling them what to do, what to think, how to stand, right down to the tiniest detail, because it is controlling every single part of your nervous system and how it responds to the information that it's receiving at the speed of light straight into your head. That's a basic science fact. It's not even pseudoscience. It's right there. That is the facts of our anatomy and how it works, and what happens if you shoot something through the airwaves that goes into our retina or straight through us at those speeds. And that is what we are in. A 100% concocted, simulated reality. And 60% of the global population uses a smartphone. 1/3 of this population does not. But because the simulation is in the airwaves all the time, that information is everywhere all at once. So even people who don't have the iPhone are still, like myself, are still receiving through the eye the information that's put in the airwaves. We're just not hooked into it as much. If we have an internet connection, we almost are. but there's a buffer there between the internet and direct access to the brain in terms of doing serious damage through an iPhone or a smartphone of any kind, which is what I experienced in 2016 on May 13, which is what started these files in the first place, because I knew at that point something had to be up. The people around me, their behaviour was changing, whipping into something completely other than what would be expected, beyond a mood or beyond a bit of they were completely disconnecting from any type of humanity and just becoming zombies, acting out what was in their phones, going through their heads and directing it at me out of the blue, unexpectedly. Like, where does that even come from? And to inflict that on a person, to inflict that on another person, to corner me with demons that are automated by social media data in such a way as that they make no sense, in such a way as that everything that comes out of their mouth is the opposite of the truth, the opposite of what it's true. It's like being in one of those, those Hollywood movies where the main character is being conspired against, and there's no sense, rhyme or reason to what anything that anybody is saying, and she's just faced with constant false accusations by artificial intelligence, a stupid concoction that thinks that it can tell everything there is to know about you by what you type on the internet. All it does is take what you've put on the internet. It doesn't take any other second of your life. It doesn't take anything else. And then it interprets it according to its own backcoding, which is from IBM, EBCDIC. It cancels out ethics. It overrides self-defense. It is the corruption in the system. It is the injustice we all know exists. It puts the state and the King Kong and the demon and the dinosaur and the reptilian at the top of the heap, at the top of the food chain. And this all comes into being because of the love of money and ego, arrogance, and feeling important. When you really look at the stupidity of anybody assuming that only money can feed people, when as human beings we have the ability to simply share what we have with others, continue doing what it is that we do, and simply share what we have with others, and barter and exchange, and just allow the natural flow of goods and sustenance flow between countries and each other, even in our own countries. But they insist on being delusional and playing this ridiculous thing called the stock market, which is just numbers going up and down. And nobody needs it. It is a literal wank. It's a delusional, psychotic cult that has no basis in meaning, purpose, substance, or reality whatsoever. This is the reptilian system. It is a big fat lie. All of it. Right in our faces. So when they come to us and they say, this is how you can apply for digital ID, this is how you can access government services, this is how you can do... My response to all of that is fuck off. Get out of my daily life. These governments are only there to collect taxation and to administer some type of basic civil law where everybody knows that there's a basic set of rules that we can all deep down agree on are probably necessary to keep people from going too far with whatever they might be experiencing, to not hurt other people. That's all the government is supposed to do. They are not supposed to be in our lives every day, on social media, in the airwaves, every day, smacking into our heads, invading our homes through the airwaves, tracking our phones, spying on our data, collecting it all, as if we are simply bits and bytes and JPEGs and phone numbers and a cell phone to be stomped on, barcoded at birth, possessed and owned by a vicious, cruel, reptilian, idiotic, psychotic, mental, institution-bound, fake state. That's who they are. Fake. My advice to you listening to this is to understand your boundaries. Those people, that technology has no mandate to be in your house, on your person, on your property, or able to access remotely anything to do with you at any time that they have not presented a warrant. And I am not talking about the incidences where something does go down and they need to break a few rules because there's a guy out there with a bomb, and otherwise if they don't break the rule, they're not going to catch him in time and all the shit will go down. I am talking about our everyday lives. From the minute we wake up, they're in our face. The gall of these people to come onto social media, onto social networks that originally started with we the people getting together and having a chat, have been taken over and abused by disgusting governments who want to push wars in our faces while they guzzle up the blood, traumatize our children, infect our young men with porn, disturb them, fuck them up. This is the CIA way of doing things, isn't it? You attack people all over the world, kick us around in the head and the guts, poison our water, poison our food, subject us to slavery to earn money? What do we need money for? You're the ones who need money. Not you, the listener, them. They're the ones who want the money. And they force everybody else to go along with it. Then they tax us to death over and over and over again. Not once, not twice, the same dollar, 100 times until we've got nothing left. But whatever disease they decide to infect us with through the airwaves, through their televisions, through their sickly, disgusting media, their sick obsession with news media, always bad news, always drama, it's always days of our lives. This is what they do. This is what they do with the gift of life. They flat ignore, cancel, cuss out and destroy any sense of spirituality that is the natural birthright of a sentient creature, of a human sentient creature. To be free and autonomous in our discovery, our learning, our exploration, our searching for meaning. Well, we saw what they did through COVID. They dismissed it. Anyone with a spiritual belief was dismissed because all they wanted to protect was our flesh, our meat sack, their labour force, so that their economy didn't crumble. They stomped on us. They booted us in the head, the guts. They killed our children. They've abducted them by our iPhones. They put people into a state of fear and panic while they sat up there laughing. It's over. This technology, on the basis of flat fact anatomy, is exposed as feeding us a simulated world. based on reprojecting not just the information that they want us to see or want us to hear, but information from the common person everywhere over the world who is just uploading their daily life to the internet, and most of them are ignorant of what I'm talking to you about right now. They have posted everything from schoolyard fights, street violence, animal cruelty, war footage, constant pornography, dick pics from Indian men, and they call this globalism. These cretins, these reptilian bastards, didn't even have the sense of hygiene it takes to make sure that if they were going to deliver an internet through the airwaves, that it would only be filled with beauty and light. Because they don't want a world, they don't even want a simulated world of beauty and light. They want death, destruction, and blood. They want pain, suffering. They hook into our emotional centers. They torture us emotionally. They concoct foul, advanced triggered events in our own lives. Terrorist attacks, mass shootings, all of this being done by social media. Mark Zuckerberg, the worm, the liar, the fraud. Elon Musk, the biggest of them all. 50,000 satellites to blast our heads to pieces. Lying on his stupid network, rebranded as X. As if this was an open admission that he just wants to kill everything, because anybody with half a brain knows what the letter X means when it lines up with everything else in the system. It marks the spot, doesn't it? And that's apart from how it sinks into EBCDIC and GPX. And that man, that reptile, wants 50,000 Starlink satellites in orbit over my country? That asshole doesn't own my country. He doesn't own your country. He just thinks he does. You know, people like that, who think they know. They get cocky. They don't really know. They just want to seem like they do. Because that's what they think is expected of them. I've got to act like I know. And they form little cults. Oh, no, I'm the new guru. Oh, I couldn't really tell you, I don't know, but I'm the best. I know, I'm the smartest because I'm the richest. And look what they base his popularity on, the fact that he's rich. Money. The substitute. The interference circuit. The coward's way out of being a decent human being. That's all it is. Money is the coward's way out of being a decent human being. It's not even an exchange of energy. It's an exchange of metal and paper. That's what they've done. So I started these files in 2016. It's now 2024. It's 8 years between then and now that I make this particular podcast. You know why? Because they have relentlessly targeted me for the last 8 years. They have interrupted, distracted, caused drama, been unsupportive, directly attacked the work, tried to shut it down. To the extent that Elon Musk and his pimps, his manosphere pimps, who he allows 100 accounts on his ridiculous network, decided that they wanted to launch a war against women? Which ones, mate? Do you mean the ones that have been indoctrinated by men like you? The ones that came onto social apps as sweet, innocent 14-year-olds and got psyoped by porn because of frat boy jocks in America who were obsessed with it and thought it was funny? Then you deform our young girls into being women that you now think you have to fight against because you're too cowardly and too stupid to realise and accept that you caused the problem in the first place? Isn't that how it works with anything to do with technology. It causes the problem and then it steps forward as if it's got the solution. Bullshit. All it means is that problem, reaction, solution cycle that David Icke used to talk about. The laughing stock, this absolute hideous, gluttonous pig of a man, thinking that he's a hero by giving Starlink satellites to hurricane victims after he's the one who causes the hurricane. With all these posts, of course. Look at the hurricane going on. That's all in the airwaves. He disturbs our weather patterns. You think that's crazy? Go back to what I said at the start. Go back to what I said at the start. You think that a hurricane all the way over there is thousands of miles away. And yet, we're being broadcast a simulated reality that's getting interpreted by our visual cortex, in our mind's eye. So all of it's in our own heads, and this guy's up there causing little miniature hurricanes, which, in a simulated reality, by virtue of 3D projections, and the illusion of time and distance and space, which is all supported by digital time code and gravity, appears to be thousands of miles away. But it's not. He's right there. He's right there on his stupid little account that he has used to abuse his power over people because he thinks he's a big man. A big man. 10 kids, 11 kids to 3 different women, can't even father them, pimps his kids out for attention to make himself look like a family man. He's a joke. It's everybody who supports the guy, take my strong advice, you're barking up the wrong tree. If you care about the future of humanity or freedom of the spirit or the soul or the mind at all, you do not support Elon Musk. If you're sick of a system that makes money the most important thing over everything else, you do not support Elon Musk. The fact that he wormed his way into the White House as this technological shit blaster of toxic fumes through monstrosity rockets, obliterating nature, shitting on it, mining, digging holes in the ground, fucking other people's countries up, trying to hijack us, trying to hijack Brazil, trying to hijack El Salvador, getting his ass all up other people's business like a fucking idiot. Pardon me, but that's the truth. Disgusting. And I'll be right here to take him out. And what I mean by that is through sheer humiliation. There has to be some sense of justice in this world to rid us of these disgusting parasites who data mine and leech and eat our brains out as they steal our intellectual property and feed it into their shitty little machines to create fake intelligence so they can be fake and keep their fake world spinning. Fake. Meaningless. Of no substance whatsoever. Show me one single piece of modern technology in information technology that of itself has any substance or meaning whatsoever. They're toys. They're little junk toys. They're little fads. The little brain bashers. They're rapists. They steal, they thieve, they suck, they're Satanists. They sacrifice humans every single day of the week. They don't care. For me, it ends here. For me, it ends here. They want war, they've got a war. As one person, all I've got is the power of my own mind and my own intellect and the knowing in my own heart that they are pieces of shit. They have done this for hundreds of years in modern times and started back with the Roman and British Empire. And before that, some type of high psychosis coming out of the Middle East with their wars. Always men on a horse, throwing a sword around, trying to be dickheads, take things over. And they call themselves the superior sex. Look what they leave in their wake. They create a world that nobody wants to be part of, that everybody struggles in and everybody dies in, without knowing a single damn thing about the actual truth. That's what those men do, the patriarchs, the big men, the jocks, the egotists, the landlords. They steal and they pretend that they own stuff. Use it to make money. They're not people, they're demons. They stay plugged into TV signal. They feed on it. Poison everybody and shove a big fat asshole like Elon Musk in our face as if he's God. What a joke. You only need to take one look at the difference between Elon Musk and Jesus Christ or God or the powers of creation to know Elon Musk is nothing and nobody. He can't even assess something correctly. He's always wrong. So that's what they've done. Today is the 24th of December 2024 at 11:29 a.m. It's Christmas Eve. And I just wanted to get this out there to sum up in the strongest words possible without meaning to offend anybody listening. I've kept my cool for every single podcast except this one, and I won't apologise for it. My strong advice to you is what I said at the start. Get rid of your iPhones. For now, you can pick up little cell phones that don't have internet data on them if you need one. There's an answering service because they've cut our landlines off. But don't carry that on you. Don't carry an internet on you 24/7, or you're setting yourself up and helping them complete their disgusting agenda of digital ID, digitising humanity, transhumanism, everything fake, 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 no substance whatsoever. If you want to live your life with some type of meaning and some type of purpose, we do not engage with any of that. An internet connection that's through fibre optic cables is probably about as far as you can go before you become an unhygienic monster. To access information as they enforce in this world through an internet connection, it must be a broadband fibre optics protected signal. Mobile internet, everything that's in the airwaves, including taxi radio, police radio, satellites, everything, air traffic control, everything, they have jammed it. Everything is chock-a-block full. And the arrogance it took for them to do this at the speed of light, in the same field as light, photons, energized particles through devices that are filled with chemicals, killing people. They don't know whether they want us dead or alive. All they want to know is that they can control the population. And instead of educating about responsible community planning and responsible family planning, they pump the younger generation full of hormonal manipulation inputs through the internet and through the media to have them reproducing. And, you know, this too is now backfiring. A lot of people are refusing to do it. And it's more present than ever through the war against women, which is a war against nature, the confusion in the gender identity sections of society, children who've been back-ended in the head by Facebook and suddenly think they're a boy or a girl or a dog or a cat. It's all because of this technology. And all that we needed to do was look at the anatomy of the brain, how it works, and put two and two together that if something's flying through the air at the speed of light and it's not light, it's packets of information that's going to go straight into the brain, be interpreted by the brain. The visual aspect of it will be interpreted by the visual cortex. The other aspects will be interpreted by every other part of the brain. The central nervous system and the immune system will respond to the information it's receiving. And voila, there you are. You are now a fully simulated and automated human being, denied your birthright to a spiritual life of meaning and purpose. They might even get you as far as thinking that you're living one. But if you really examine it, you'll be able to find at least 20 things within 20 seconds in your life alone that do not reflect that principle or your natural truth or what is really true for you. They're all compromises to keep them happy, not to keep you happy, to keep them happy. And that's what we have to stop doing, compromising to serve their tin god. Acquiescing, apathetically lying down. Give it your all. Always stand up. Know your rights. Define your boundaries with your person, your home, your property, your family, and your goddamn children. They do not belong to the state. They never purchased them. They just like to think they own us. That's their psychosis. And that's what we need to stand up against. They have no mandate to intrude in our lives every single day of the week, 24/7. Every second of every hour of every day, when we're awake and when we're asleep, impacting our dreams also. That's all from me for today, guys. I do wish you a Merry Christmas. I hope this little packet of energy and angst and fire gives you pause for thought before you enjoy your day tomorrow. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope you do enjoy your day. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, know your rights, know your boundaries, and take on board everything that I've said. It's all true.